Welcome back, everyone. Let us now welcome the next session of the day, also in the field of careers in digital global business services. So moderating this panel, let's join in welcoming back. He's back, Danesh Jothiprahasam, the lead reinvestment, investment and grants development for the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. Back to you, Danesh.
Thank you so much, Hasro, for that. Okay, let me just share a bit of context today, right? Today, there's, as you know, in the morning, there was a session on digital GBS. Today also is a second focus session with regards to digital GBS. As I mentioned, digital GBS is so pervasive. It is already converging across many skill sets, both tech and non-tech. And because of that, it is so important. It is also a key provider of jobs during these new norm times, not only in Malaysia, but across the world. You see, something just to share, right? I will not name the company, ONG, it's an ONG company, right? Did mention to me their global workforce, right? At least 1/3 of it are already in global business services mode. Try to imagine how much of convergence and impact that is actually happening from a digital perspective, right? So without further ado, right, I would like to just share a bit on today's three wonderful panelists that we have. We have here Khim Ong. Khim Ong, you know, is part of TriAset. She has a really huge expertise with regards to being an all-rounder, you know, from all the way from strategic marketing, strategic business evangelist, and etc. Then we also have Yoga coming from ExxonMobil. He's a technical lead, trying to drive a lot of infrastructure projects, especially from the digital side. And then lastly, we have Sarveen. Sarveen is, you know, coming from the training provider side. OpenLearning, very unique. He will be sharing his thoughts later with regards to what his organization does. And then all of us will then converge for hopefully an invigorating discussion before we all go and have our makan, lunch, moving forward. So thank you. So let's start off first with Khim. Khim, over to you.
Hi, thank you. Hi, very good morning to everyone. My name is Khim, and thanks to Ganesh. Good morning to all the audience online as well. This is a very interesting virtual jobs meetings that we are having about jobs. Let me introduce myself first. I'm from a company called TriAset. If you can see my slides there, TriAset, TriAset, just to ensure that you know how to pronounce that. Now, what kind of company we are? We actually a fintech company. I can call it as fintech. Maybe it's a lot easier for you to understand. So what we specialize on? We specialize on the solutions or system we build for treasury and investment departments. Yeah, so these are the companies, always have treasury and investment activities in the company. So we always work with, I will come into the industry later. So we specialize in corporates, we specialize in financial institutions. So corporate can be usually a large corporate. We also have a smaller corporate as well. So why are we so different? Because we are actually 22 years in the market. Yeah, since 1999. So we are not a junior, so we are quite pioneer. We have over 100 happy clients in the market and over 7 countries that we present in ASEAN and Middle East as well. So we are 100% Malaysian owned. So we are very proud for that. We have been stable until today. So let me show it to you. What are our other products we are having other for this part itself. Can you see the next slide? Okay, so it's quite simple in our company. If you look into the bank itself, our solutions, our system for bank, we call it bank treasury. If you look into FSI non-bank, a solution is called non-bank institution. We have investment system. Yeah, if you look into a corporate side, we call it corporate treasury system, or other words, we call it TMS, treasury management system. Other than that, for bank, we also have market risk, yeah, value at risk, which is very mathematical and very risk-oriented kind of a solution. So let me go into another one. Where are we presented in the world? I wouldn't say this whole entire world, but at least we are in the ASEAN country and also in the Middle East. So there are more than 7 countries we are in, other than our own mainland, Malaysia. So we are quite big in Indonesia, we are in Sri Lanka, yeah, and India as well. Now, next, I would like to actually show it to you that who are our clients, especially in the corporate side, yeah. We do have a few. I just share with some of the corporate clients we have. DRB Highcom have 100 over subsidiary. They are using our system. Sunway is our very first clients until today, since 2001. So Sunway actually have a very big treasury center. The whole entire groups are using our treasury system. Likewise for Prolintas and the rest. Now, let's look into, if you look into the client itself, I want to look into what are our market segments. Some of you may want to know what market segments are we in. We are actually in bank. We are in FI non-bank, financial institution, non-bank FI. For example, insurance company, government agency, and fund manager. Yeah, so these are the segment we will be in. And next is actually any corporates. Now, you probably ask, what is this treasury and risk investment? Technically, it simply means that if you have an asset and liability, you will need to actually invest in your asset. Your asset will be cash way of asset in the instrument, or you can actually have another things, which is your liability. That means we have a borrowing. So we will be taking care of the asset and liability, 2 parts of these equations for you in our system. This is actually 1 level up from the accounting system. Accounting system is historical, that you see information from historical basis. From treasury system, you will see a lifetime cash position for your company. Yeah, so this is what we are doing for all these markets. Now, I would like to go into another slides. Yeah, just to go into another slides. Next slide, please. Yeah. So next, I would like to see that this is what we are doing. Next things I want to say, why should you join us? Because as a 22-year-old company, I would say that if we can survive until today, we definitely have some things in us that we can maintain until today. And also we have I would say we are very highly mathematical in terms of our solutions, our system. We need a lot of mathematical ones. So when you join us, if you are actually interested in us, I will tell you a few reasons why you should join us. First of all, I would say that one thing about us, because we are actually a digital company, we only working time is Monday to Friday and 9 to 6. Yeah, that's our working hour. We don't work officially on Saturday and Sunday. We don't. Yeah, so that's one very good thing, because we're very regular working hours. Secondly, is like we actually focus a lot on work-life balance. Yeah, we're trying to make sure that our team member know what's the balance within that. When they are in stress, we're trying to check it out, especially in this time of pandemic. Yeah, so we actually look into that very well. Smart casual, just like me, we can be smart casual, except if you are meeting clients. Then you need to be more professional. If not, it can be smart casual. So it's quite casual in a way. I would say in a company like us, which is a digital-based fintech company, our pay are actually quite, you will be paid quite well in a way. And we actually have very good employment benefits, such as we have compensation if you do overtime. Yeah, like our project, sometimes overtime, we'll pay our employees. We also have compensation like dental, medical. These are quite a basic one. We also have looked into, if let's say you have some way you want to be compensated, we will discuss about that. Yeah, so we're actually quite flexible in the employment benefits, but we have a fixed standard one, yeah, which is quite support. The transport compensations, we also will give it to our staff as well. The last 2 things I think is the most important parts about ourselves is that we always would like to give empowerment to whoever they're joining us. Means that once you've been giving a trust in doing something, you have the whole accountability to actually responsible for what you want to do. So we give empowerment. So it means that you have the authority to make certain decisions on the jobs you are doing, on the tasks you are given. So I think this is one of very important parts, crucial parts from our company culture. Yeah. Lastly, I would say why you should join us is because we actually are a very established fintech company for 22 years. That's what I can say from my side. Is there any other things? Next things I'll probably let you see is that I will let you see a bit about our company. Yeah, sorry, I just flipped back again. Of our company, this is our office itself. Yeah, you can see from here, we have one beautiful pantry that we all love to be there because it's like a golf course. Yeah, it's carpeted with the golf course kind of grass. So we always have our meeting, our casual catch up over here at the pantry here. So if you see the door on the left in the center picture, we can open up. It's a very big space because it's our meeting room as well. Yeah, so it becomes a very big space. So this is where our office is. This is our people because we do organize teams to go out together. You know, we do organize a lot of things in our sports club. There's one of our benefits sports club. I think our people sometimes will probably be a bit spoiled because why? We buy a lot of snacks for them. Sometimes I personally feel the snack may not be healthy, but I'll let them choose because they like to have certain snacks. Yeah, so they will choose what kind of food they want to buy for the office for themselves to consume. So I think basically this is what I can say about TriAset as a treasury and investment system solution, which have been in the market for 22 years. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Khim. That was really, really nice. I mean, when you were talking about TriAset, right? Looks like I also want to get hired there, Khim. You know, and all of this, right? So, really, really, I think the way that it's been structured and very unique, the company, in terms of your positioning, right, as into this particular niche space, right? Treasury risks, you know, investments and etc. You found an opportunity and then you made it a business, right? And calling it fintech, right? And this is really transformative for the financial industry, right? Think about it, right? Accountants, right? Day in, day out. My wife is an accountant, actually. You know, going through books, closing, and etc. This really takes a lot of that hassle away, you know, moving forward, right? By having the system look into it, you know, which allows our knowledge workers to actually go into more strategic roles in this particular field. Wonderful, Khim. Thank you so much. We will come back later together in the other session. Now let's go over to Mr. Yoga. Yoga, over to you to share your thoughts from Exxon.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Yogavanam Mahadevan. I know that's quite a mouthful, so you can call me Yoga for short. So I'm from ExxonMobil Business Support Center, Malaysia. So that's the legal entity and within the ExxonMobil Business Support Center, Malaysia is the Kuala Lumpur Global Business Center. And the Kuala Lumpur Global Business Center is essentially the IT hub for ExxonMobil in Malaysia. Okay. Okay, let me just start by saying, okay, we are part of the larger ExxonMobil family, and ExxonMobil, maybe some of you are aware, is one of the largest integrated petrochemical companies in the world today. And accordingly, we have the full suite of oil and gas business units, which includes the upstream business, which very briefly, it's where we extract oil and gas from the ground. Then we have the refining and supply business, which is basically where hydrocarbon gets refined and into finished products like fuels and lubricants. And then we have the chemical business, which is basically converting crude oil and natural gas into petrochemical feedstocks that are used in everyday products. For example, like vitamin capsules, for example. And at the bottom of the chart, you can see the global services and corporate departments. These are basically the support services that the various support services that we have to support the business units that I mentioned earlier. This includes things like HR and IT. So ExxonMobil today worldwide, markets fuels, lubricants, chemicals in 4 brands that you can see on the right there. ExxonMobil, Exxon, Esso, Mobil. That's our brands. We are basically present in 6 continents. and we have about 75,000 employees globally. In Malaysia specifically, we are one of the largest US investors, and we have the business units that we have in Malaysia is upstream. We have a chemicals business unit, which is purely focused on marketing. Then we have KLTC, which is short for KL Technical Center. This is basically an engineering hub, engineering from the from the petrochemical side. And then we have KLGBC, where I'm from, which is basically the information technology hub. So today in Malaysia, we have about 2,000 permanent employees. Okay, let me click on to the next slide. Okay, so this chart basically shows the growth of KLGBC, the IT hub, right? So we have been 17 years in, we have 17 years of service. So we started back in 2004, right? At that point of time, it was called BSC, the Business Support Center. Our name has changed recently. So we started in 2004, and we were awarded the MSc status in 2005. Then in 2006, we had, globally, there was a global realignment of all the IT organization in ExxonMobil. And between 2004 and 2009, we were growing quite aggressively. So in 2009, I think we reached a certain maturity level. And then from then onwards, now, we are going up the value chain within the company, and we are taking on more knowledge-based IT roles. So today we have people like who are system architects and doing business support advisory and things like that. So we are continuing to expand our IT activities in KLGBC going forward, supporting the global ExxonMobil business. So I mentioned about the 4 business units. Basically, IT is core to the business, just like any other business. It enhances digital capability for the business lines I mentioned. So this at the bottom there, this is not an exhaustive list. It basically shows the different IT capabilities and deliverables that we provide for the business, right? Things like productivity solutions, offshore telecommunication, automation, industrial IT, and so forth. So next, I just want to quickly talk about career opportunities in KLGBC. So we have opportunities in that 5 high-level domains that you see on the chart. So I'll start off with business capabilities. This is basically the domain of supporting the business lines, like I mentioned, upstream, downstream, chemicals, and the specific applications they use. And this involves, from a discipline perspective, it involves software development and data engineering. Then next is industrial IT. This includes enhancing IT capabilities into the plant environment. And we are talking about things like refinery there, and operations, and includes elements of Internet of Things. So in this discipline, it involves skills like infrastructure engineering, like network, servers, and security. And then infrastructure engineers, this is a domain where you support infrastructure components in our data centers, and also the many computer rooms we have around the globe. Right. So again, this involves disciplines like server engineering and network engineering and security. Enterprise security is all about security. How we protect our assets, IT assets, and and from threats. And so this involves disciplines like network security and cyber security. Last but not least is the domain of automation. It's all about enhancing and increasing the efficiency of our IT infrastructure, right? So we want to do things better, we want to do things faster, and automation is, it's a buzzword today, and it's no different in ExxonMobil. So again, automation today touches all aspects of the IT domains. So these are the career opportunities we have in KLGBC. To submit your application, please go to jobs.exxonmobil.com. And when you go into that, please select information technology, and then select location to be Kuala Lumpur, and then select information technology. You will have 2 line items, select information, the second line item. So this is how you go about submitting your application. Let me flip to the next slide. Okay, why a career in KLGBC, right? I'm not going to go through all the hexagons that you see on the screen, but I would like to touch on a few items. First is given IT support all aspects of the business, and the petrochemical business is a complex business and it's a complex ecosystem. There's no shortage of challenging assignments or projects when you come on board. This company places very good emphasis on human capital and development of employees. Hence, you will get very good training opportunities, year in, year out, because like I said, the company places a lot of emphasis on, developing their staffs and making sure, they progress. As mentioned earlier, we are also moving up the value chain as part of an IT hub. So this opens up many management and technical leadership position within the company. So that's another highlight that I would like to highlight. And last thing I want to mention is that you get a global expertise. We are a global company, so you will have an opportunity to collaborate and work with like-minded talents across the globe. And this is an experience that will really enhance your outlook and views of how IT solutions are being deployed globally. So in summary, I believe it's a great place to work, and look forward to your applications. And that would be my last slide. And I would like to say thank you to MDEC and all of y'all, especially for MDEC, for having me to participate in this event. And last but not least, stay safe given the environment we are in today. So back to you, Danesh.
Thank you, Yoga. Thank you. I think the technical capabilities, right? And as we know, right, the ONG sector, downstream, upstream, right? Business units, I'm aware of this because of dealing with a lot of investors from the ONG side. A lot of them are consolidating business unit jobs into the global business services front. In the past, right, I used to remember there were oil and ONG maintenance companies, right? They used to have engineers procuring materials or doing upstream or downstream, which was actually a waste of time, actually. You see, engineers should be doing the engineering job, procurement should be doing the procurement job to achieve the streamline. That's the whole purpose of GBS in the long run, right? To achieve those efficiencies. So wonderful stuff, especially from a technical perspective. Now let's go to our last panelist to share the content today. We have here Sarveen Kandiah, part of OpenLearning and all of this. He leads that as the managing director for ASEAN and etc. Over to you, Sarveen.
Thank you so much, Danesh. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. Hi everyone. My name is Sarveen Kandiah. I'm part of the family that is OpenLearning. We are an online learning platform that actually works with universities, colleges, training companies, corporates as well, to kind of reimagine how online learning or learning should be delivered. In the current space that we're living in, it's no longer an option. It's something that we all have to kind of figure out in terms of involving that or trying to learn from how do we take on courses that make sense for us, but from a wider audience, right? Today I'm here, listening to my fellow panelists. My role is to kind of just share with you different options in terms of how to equip yourself when going and applying for the various programs and the various options that made available. MDEC and all the other organizations are doing such a great job in trying to promote this environment. It's more needed now than ever as things are changing rapidly. People need to rethink, reimagine their career paths sometimes. It's just a scary time for a lot of people, but also an exciting time, depending on how you see it, right? Which is something that I kind of like dictate in a sense that there's a mountain climbing situation I'm not sure if you have not done mountain climbing. I have not done it. I just heard about this concept. Right now the path is very clear in this photo, right? But mountain climbers will tell you that they might have gone down 5 times before they went up to the next marker, gone down and then went up to the next marker. Because when you make it halfway or maybe 3/4 of the way, you are sometimes in a position where you cannot make it further up because the path is no longer correct. You can see the top of the mountain, you know that's the top of the mountain, but you can't move forward because of the current path you're on. And sometimes it requires you to kind of climb back down before going back up again and finding a new path that kind of takes you to the higher part of the mountain. And that happens to most people, I believe, especially when you're in a new position or in a new career situation where you got to think of like how to adapt and how to change, right? It's scary, right? To be halfway in your career or in a 3/4 way of your career to go and say, hey, I need to climb back down that mountain to kind of reimagine this, right? But the mountain is still higher. There's more to go, and there's something to fight for. So it's a matter of how do you approach it, and how do you reimagine and rethink your education and your upskilling and your reskilling environments in the world that we live in today. So my point that I wanted to make is, the fellow panelists are sharing about all the opportunity and there's amazing jobs available, right? From the fintech industry, from the oil and gas industry. But what's really important is the skills that they're looking for, right? There's the company that they described, and then there's the skills that they're looking for. A lot of times people attach themselves to the degree or to the job title. But in reality, what the employers are looking for is specific skill sets or specific job requirements or skills that will help the job requirement, right? When you're applying for that job, how do you showcase that you know that skill? In the environment that we are living in today, the badges and the certs are very important, right? It's kind of indication that you know something, right? It's an indication that you have gone through a program and you have completed such a program, and this is a certificate, or this is the badge to show for it. It opens the door to kind of give some kind of guidance that you know the skill set that they're looking for, right? It's really important that you can actually show that and share that. But one extra step that I think is really important that everyone needs to be aware of is being able to show that evidence of learning. Portfolios are just as important as your credential and as your badge. You can say that I graduated in finance, but this is the financial model I created. And when you show that model, that's when the employers go, okay, this guy knows his stuff, right? Same concept, this cuts across every industry and every environment that you're trying to build. Any employer is looking to know whether you actually say you know your things, right? Sorry, know what you're talking about. So how do you prove that? And portfolios are absolutely important in terms of how do you showcase that. It could be a digital portfolio, it could be a physical portfolio. How do you show the likes of Ms. Khim or Ms. Yoga that you actually know what you're talking about, right? And that's really important. So when you're taking the skills and you're taking the courses that you're going for, it's absolutely important that you figure out, when I take this course, what is that artifact of learning that I can show to the employer that I actually know my stuff, right? And that will really make a difference in terms of the environment that we're in today. Because a lot of people are graduating with degrees, a lot of people are graduating with certificates. It's about how do you showcase that. So in OpenLearning, we work with multiple universities, colleges from Australia, Malaysia, around the world, to help them digitize their programs to reimagine courses in this way. We are a marketplace that you can always go into, openlearning.com, to kind of take courses that could be relevant to you. Just to kind of give you some examples here, right? On the left, the first one, you got to rethink how to get hired, right? You got to think about how to interview, you got to think about how to reimagine your CV. So we have courses made available for that. We've got courses, for example, from Deakin University in Australia on how to do critical thinking and logical components. And this is huge for any industry you go to, especially in the global business services. We've just launched CS 101, which is a foundation computer science program, which actually takes you back to the basics, right? And really take you step by step on that journey to kind of make sure you understand the whole computer science environment. And we believe this is absolutely important, especially when we move into this new era. A foundation in programming and a foundation in computer, even if you don't use it, it's okay, as long as you kind of learn it, right? New environments that are creating in a centralized way is learning and development for teams are also something starting to centralize, right? Learning to build online content if you're in the HR world would be really important so that you can train staff globally and create better learning environments. Sometimes it's also good to imagine the industry you're looking for and try to find courses that are already skewed to that, right? So this is an example on the right where Deakin University partnered with one of the largest cricket teams in the world to offer marketing programs that are tailored to the sports industry in India, right? Now, if you want to go work in there, would you take a marketing course that's general, or would you go and take a course that's really tight and a little bit more skewed towards the sports side so that you can learn the ins and outs of that, right? So what I wanted to point out here, there's many ways to look at the programs to take. And so when you're looking up all the skills courses that are made available through the MyWit program and through all the other programs that are available, go down to what is the skill set that they are going to teach you, the core skill, right? And match that with the job requirements that companies like TriAset and Exxon are offering, so that you can showcase that capability and you can showcase that apart from your CV and your work experience that you're already doing. Not too late to reskill. It's not too late to reimagine. And check out OpenLearning.com for a whole lot more courses, but there's also programs around, MDEC is doing a great job in trying to aggregate multiple courses in one area so that it's made life easy for you guys as well. But my final point is, it's scary to sometimes reskill and upskill, but there's always an opportunity. And when you do that consciously and look for programs and courses that you like, and make sure the outcomes are there, and make sure that you're able to showcase something from that learning to be able to show to the employer. We'll be doing a lot more things like this. Please check us out at openlearning.com. We will also be organizing a satellite event next week to talk more about courses and more about skills that are made available. So please check us out. Just register on the link that's provided to you. And then I'm happy to answer any questions as well later. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarveen. That was I think it was very fresh, the perspective that you have been sharing from open learning. And also in a way, right, I got a bit of goosebumps when you started talking. I was getting scared about all these the changes that we need to do moving forward, right? Especially as the workforce really converges, right? Younger talent pool, right, who have a more high affinity for tech, right? They go into a rapid growth mode. And also, we not to forget the older talent pool as they try to address together with both experience and mentoring moving forward, right? So this whole convergence, right, is what we hope will end up as a sustainable model moving forward. So let's now, without further ado, right, let's get into the panel sessions with three of y'all. I think we start off first with Khim. Khim, I would like to share some. This is actually from the audience, right? Fintech industry usually works virtually these days. So are the banking industry consolidating their staff. How do you foresee, based on the prolonged MCO, in terms of the impact, for TriAset itself, the industry itself, and then of course, as you can see, right, TriAset is in a way disrupting the financial industry with the solutions, right? How do you see this whole traction is going to happen in the overall holistic view? Khim, you're on mute.
Thanks for the questions. You're absolutely right. In the fintech and banking industry, quite a lot of people are actually working from home. Yeah. In this prolonged period, yes, we are still working from home because industry like us, we are more ready in terms of our infrastructure. So immediately once MCO started last year, we already ready to actually work from home. There's a very little hiccup from our side because some of them, probably the laptop is a bit old. That's all we need to change. Other than that, we don't have problems in terms of readiness to be work from home, for us. Likewise, for bank side, also the same thing. Now, when it come to the question, when it's actually prolonged, so yes, you're right. First, the morale of the employees or the staff are actually a little bit lower, definitely, because we all work from home. We don't see each other. Yeah, we are a social animal. We need to see each other. So morale is actually reduced. Motivation is slightly different. Yeah, so actually reduced as well. So what we do is that in order to cope for that, because everybody been working a lot harder, I would say that everybody work a lot harder when you work from home. So I wouldn't say that people try to actually skip or not working, especially in our industry. I'm not sure about other industry. In fintech and banking industry, that's not really the people wanted to actually, we say that not working, not so, yeah. So it is fine to actually manage that. So what we have is just the morale and motivations, and because we work so hard, people get a little bit more depressed. So I met my colleague yesterday too. I can feel that the depression that he has, So what we do is that first we actually get a whole team together. I always have a team meeting with the whole entire group. Other than the town hall, if your town hall is whole entire company, then you cannot have one-to-one talk. So I always organize a team meeting with that department. So I will talk to them. I ensure I have a video talk, create activities with them and check on how they are doing. So other than the department's issues and challenges, I'll look into the situation. So the first thing we do, yeah. Second thing is that we come into the situations where I really need to solve certain problems with the virtual meeting. We can't do it. Yes, that's where we go to the office. So we still go to the office for certain issues. Like yesterday, I especially go into the office to help one of my team member that I see that things are not moving. So I know that I cannot do it virtually. So only two of us in the office, yeah, in the meeting room. So we really discuss what is the issue, what is the problem. I've been talking to you virtually through few computers, but communication just can't get over. I don't see the delivery. So I told him that let's meet together. Yeah. So I think he was a lot happier. He also told me that, Khim, I think after this, I really need a drink. So I know that he's very stressed. Yeah, I feel that he's very stressed. So stressed, demoralized, motivation, this definitely will happen. Yeah, so you need to be constantly talking to these people. That's the solutions I say that we have now. Thank you.
All
Hope
right.
that
Well,
answered the question.
no, I think you got it spot on, Kim. I think a lot of the current times, right? With people, some people working from home continuously. I was just sharing also previously in the morning, right? In the past, right, for my role, right, I used to be on the road actually, going from company to company, Klang Valley, Johor, northern region, and seeing sea levels, working levels, and etc. from an investment standpoint. I used to have time to reflect things while driving and etc. But nowadays I don't. It's just from one Zoom to WebEx to Teams and etc. so it goes on and on and on. And it's very interesting to note, right, that maybe a follow-up from yours, I will go to yoga now. As you can see, right, the talent pool these days is very, very, I would say very fluid, very hybrid. We have younger talent pools that are coming in. They are very excited. They are fast. Maybe also their attention span to details could be very different than the old schoolers, you see. The old schoolers that we have also around, right? Again, various thoughts. No one is wrong. No one is right. Right? That's why we are having we want to make this discussion more engaging. So yoga, I mean, with your gray hair, your wiseness and all of this, maybe you can share your thoughts from ExxonMobil. How do you actually address this very unique ecosystem of younger talent pool working together with older talent pool? Everyone has different ways of working, you see, and how will this converge together in this new era, in this new norm times, in this working environment? Your thoughts, Yoga?
Okay. I think in ExxonMobil today, at least in our global business center, you know, we have the range of demographics, right, from the younger talents to older talents like me, perhaps with my gray hair, so, like you have pointed out.
No pun intended, Yoga.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a conscious effort to work with this group, and I think for somebody who's who's a senior in the company, right? We are very big on mentoring, right? That's one of the companies emphasize that a lot, right? So that in itself creates the environment for us to kind of adopt or bring along this young talents together and work together and collaborate. So I feel that is one really good platform to kind of get the different age of talents to work together, right? So that mentoring platform and the emphasis on mentoring really helps in that perspective. And I think the other thing is, I think sometimes we need to be one step ahead, with this Gen Z and all that, right? So our HR's human resource policy, I wouldn't say policies, the practices that they come up with is also good, right? Because they make sure that this kind of information get propagated in the organization, so we understand the different culture and the different norms of these different generations. So I think that would be two of my answers for that question that you raised, Danesh.
No problem. I think mentoring, right? I think everyone should look at it very holistically. Experienced individuals always bring to the table their experience, whether is it due to changes in technology, processes, and etc. This tacit knowledge, right, that the experienced individual has a lot of value, which the mentoring portion becomes a platform for the younger generation to hopefully take up and move up the value chain moving forward, you see. So that now leads me to Sarveen, right? Sarveen. So Sarveen is coming from the training provider side. I'm sure Sarveen has a lot of thoughts with regards to how talent is being looked at, right? But Sarveen, share with me your thoughts, right? And also together with the panelists and also the audience, right? When we talk about all these new age technologies, right? Fintech, blockchain, drone tech, and etc., right? There has been a lot of buzz, globally, Malaysia, the region, and etc., right? All of us want to get into this pie. I'm going to put our hand into the cookie jar for this particular thing to grab these opportunities. And of course, we want here today, the audience here today, right, as job seekers, right, they will want to definitely go into these hot areas, right, because these are where the opportunities are growing rapidly. So your thoughts, Sarveen, how can job seekers prepare for that? What do you think is the uptake, especially with the current age, right, that everyone wants things, I want it now, whether is it from employers or from our spouses or etc. You see, so share me your thoughts, Sarveen, together with the audience and the panelists.
Oh, no pressure. I think I'll address it in two components. There's the employer side, and then there's the job seeker side, right? So from the employer side, also you can kind of split it into the companies that are actually going to take advantage of this new environments and this new movements, or the companies that are trying to figure out, do I need to do this? And do I need to figure it out, right? And it's two very different requirements. It's two very different motivations in terms of training their staff. The ones who know that they're going to do it and go fast, they're trying to chase something, right? They need ready talent. They need ready skills, right? The companies that are taking a slightly longer term approach or like wait and see approach, look at it as I might need ready talent, but I'm also willing to invest in upskilling the current people and changing. So it really kind of depends on the two types of companies that you're looking at, and there are opportunities on both sides, I believe. Different companies don't have the luxury of taking a little bit time before they kind of jump into the new environments, the new technologies coming through, but it's bound to happen. It's just a matter of how fast. From a careers perspective and a job seeker's perspective, you got to understand that this whole thing is new, but also not new, right? We've been talking about this for a long time, depending on which topic you're talking about, right? And I really think that it comes down to genuine interest. You can't take the course to go and learn about crypto or blockchain or IoT or anything like that if you're genuinely not interested. And I think it will come out eventually, even if you force yourself to learn that. I think it's a matter of, so you got to figure out quick, and you got to figure out whether you want to learn it to utilize it and actually have a career in it, or learn it so you understand the foundation so that you can add to the flavor or the character build that you have, so that when you work in a different environment, you can at least understand the concepts to talk and relate that to your current topic. Again, so I just want to, there's no straight answer. I know Danesh, you're looking for that. But what I'm trying to say is you really got to sit down and figure out, if you're a character in a game, what kind of skill sets are you going to add to yourself to have a very specific knowledge. When I say specific knowledge, everyone is unique, and there's no such thing as one skill to rule them all or one program to rule them all. Every company is going to look for characters or people who have different combinations of backgrounds. You can have a little bit of knowledge on IoT and a little bit of knowledge on accounting, but you're really good at finance, that shapes you into one type of position. And just be aware that that is possible and made available to you. So from a job seeker's perspective, all of this is coming. Start reading on whether you're interested in the topic. That's number one. Understand whether it's going to affect your current job, and if it's going to come, at least know about it and understand where the thoughts are going to come from. There are a whole lot of programs out there now on globally you can reach now in terms of every single industry that Danesh mentioned, IoT, crypto, fintech. Figure out what's important to you, figure out what's there, and go and learn it. You can learn to survive, which is just learn enough to kind of just understand it, or you can learn to thrive, which is really take it and go for the skill and really get a job on it. If you're going to go for the thrive one, make sure you learn it for really learning it, and be able to showcase that skill. Because if you're going to use it as a skill, people want to see that you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about. So figure out programs that are able for you to kind of showcase the evidence that you know what you're doing. If it's programming, show the code that you actually built when you led the code. If it's IoT, show the program or the report or the project that you worked on to kind of like showcase that. So I don't think it's that scary in a way. It's just that you got to kind of put in the effort. But I think one thing that I would like to stress on is just really ask yourself whether you want to learn that topic and whether you want to learn it just to know about it or learn to actually use it for your career. I hope that answers that in a different way.
Thanks, Sarveen. I think you covered that scope of questions, right? And I think what you rightly pointed out, right? Passion is the key. You see, there's no point taking blockchain, right, or fintech, right, if it's just going to be for the sake of what we call catching up with the Joneses, or etc., or across the whole your network or etc. and all. It has to be a genuine interest. Then only you will definitely thrive in any particular industry that you intend to do. But now that leads me, before I jump into a more of other group questions that I want to ask panelists. From open learning perspective, right, a lot of people talk about these days, right, with, in fact, even our organization, MDEC, has been becoming very progressive with a lot of changes ongoing. We have even mandated training, right, as our core KPI, mandated with certain number of hours certain number of evidence, as just what have you just mentioned just now. Your thoughts, right, on e-learning versus going to training providers, right? The modes of learning are very different, because one is based on your time. You do it based on your very busy pack schedule, and as you know, right, people from one Zoom to WebEx and etc., and then to a learning platform consistently together with all the other family matters. And how do you think, is this something pragmatic moving forward, or would be a dedicated training provider in the long run, right? Traditional courses being offered, whether is it online or offline, is would be still relevant moving forward. Just very quickly on that before I go into a group question.
No problem. I get it's a common issue in the industry.
Yeah.
I think what really needs to kind of stress out here is it's not online versus offline. It is how you use online to the best benefit that you can. There are arguments to be made on both sides in terms of face-to-face environments and online environments. It's how you kind of blend it together or just keep it separate depending on the topic, depending on the timeline, depending on the cost. But what I would say is what OpenLearning is actually championing in online learning space. Online learning is not a video that you watch and maybe a quiz that you answer at the end or a assignment that you send in. That's very passive learning where you actually just listening. And most of the time you're probably on your phone while the video is playing anyway. And then you kind of do that. What OpenLearning is championing is, and some platforms as well, is reimagining how online content is created. You got to take your students on the journey where the student is actually actively participating online or offline, doing it offline and then submitting the work online. That's also possible. And that's very key. The second key to that is a social environment where students can talk to each other, discuss on the topic, and really submit answers in that perspective and discuss ideas and group and collaboratively work on projects online. Just like how you would have done it in a face-to-face environment in a classroom, right? It's how do you reimagine what happens in the classroom online, not just online version, offline version. It's about modifying and reimagining it. So I really think it's definitely possible. I've seen people learn better online. I've seen people learn better offline. Everyone is unique, and it's about taking everyone through this journey on reimagining how online learning should be delivered instead of just saying it's a video. Not everything can be taught online, and not everything has to be done offline. It's a matter of how do you kind of figure out the blend and how do you figure out which is better. So I really think that it's the future. I think a lot of companies are going to start figuring out what is the online component because people are just so used to that. And there's no need to waste your time in the face-to-face environment reading up on stuff or theories and something that you could have done on your own time. You save that precious 1 hour in that physical room to do discussions and conversations, just like Ms. Khim was, when we had that one-on-one session, it was very powerful, right? But so using that on the education component, you could have done all the theory online and then save the tutorials when you're talking in a physical environment. And that's concepts of blended learning as well. And that I think that could really push the agenda. And I think a lot of companies are starting to figure out what is the online strategy to save employers' time and employees' time as well.
Thank you, Sarveen, for your extended time on that and all of this. Okay, now let's go to a more of a group question. I will ask each individual's opinion, right? As we know, right, in this current pandemic times, right, new norm, right, there has been, not only in Malaysia, but across the world, right, the rate of unemployment, retrench individuals from industries that really can't function appropriately, people who are also unemployed for some time, and also the future, the fresh graduates that are coming out, from institutions of higher learning, right? These individuals are key components to the economy moving forward that really needs to be addressed. Maybe I want to start off with Khim first. What are your thoughts on your experience from this particular talent pool set currently from your organization? And also, what do you think would these particular pools of people if they were to be better and more productive within the economy and everything, what would that be your advice? Khim, over to you.
I think I actually have experience hiring those retrenched from the industry, which is not our industry. Yeah, so we hired people that from hotel industry, which is very badly hit. So when I was hiring, I done an interview. That's very interesting things that I done. Which interview I've gone through fully online. I have not seen the person except through the video. So the joke that I have is that when I hired this person, this lady, it came to the office. I went to meet her in the office. You know what? I was shocked because she was 5'8". So I was like, wow, such a big, because we don't see that person, we only see face. So it was quite a decent surprise to me. So that's just a joke. But anyway, coming into that, when you hire somebody, when you see a person, I think interview virtually, because I virtually interview and I shortlisted and hired her just through interview virtually like this. So one thing is that video can actually see a person, how sincere is the person. I hired that through that, the sincerity. I hired another one, why I chose her instead of others have more experience than her, is due to the character. And you can feel the warm character, you can feel the sincerity, you can feel the way how he has towards the work. No doubt he doesn't have any experience in our industry at all. And she's already in her 40s. So which is not easy for us to actually, I commit to actually hire her. So what I did was that's one of the criteria I hired her. But of course, she has a bit of the certain skill set that we want, but it's not in our industry. So that's I have a bit skill set that we want. She has the character and behavior that we think is very important, because we need somebody more vibrant, somebody willing to learn, somebody have accountability, that character, which is not skill sets we are looking into, a specific skill set. Thirdly is that when we bring her in, we have very extensive training for her. I think she was so shocked because she was not in this industry. She had to learn a lot of digital skills, how to use Zoom, not only Zoom, we have Microsoft Teams, we have SharePoint. There's a lot of things she has to learn, but good things that she picked up quite fast. She picked up quite fast. And then she has to also learn I get all my domain knowledge person to train her. To train her, I think I have almost about a month to a month plus training for her. Continuously, but I think it's too much for her because she cannot pick up. You can keep training, but she still cannot pick up so much, but at least some base to her. So we done that to her, which is quite good. I think she picked up pretty well. So in long run, I do not know whether this something will work. I do not know because I had her for about 2 months now. But as of now, I still quite very positive towards her. There's one thing I would say because of the character. Because I chose the right character person. Different industry is fine to me. If you're willing to learn, a technical skill can be picked up easily. That's my approach. Now, second part is that I also have another part. We hire a fresh graduates. Fresh graduates, which is actually just come out from the. So we actually hire that kind of candidates as well, come into our office. Also the same thing, fresh graduate, the first criteria for us, of course, we have to see the academy, because we don't know their background. So we see the academy, we see the people's, the character that when we talk to them, So we only assess on these two parts that we have when it comes to fresh grad. Because I cannot expect, in our industry, I cannot expect the business domain because it's very difficult for us to get the right business domain. For example, we hire those that in statistics, those that study maths, So we look into the result itself. You have a good result, your chances of getting is very high, of course, due to the requirements of that when you are fresh grad. But when you come in, when you have a bit of experience, I would say that academic may not be our most important part, but it's your character, your experience, your portfolio that will come into place. So hope that I actually answered the parts of the hiring those that not in the industry. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I think the way you looked at it, right, it was very constructive feedback, but positive. You see, which is important. We don't want to sugarcoat stuff here. I mean, we are trying to be as pragmatic as possible. What you shared is a really perfect example. 40-year-old, but what actually really your gut feeling, right, was actually that character of the individual, right, that made that transition into all those digital skill sets that you have talked about. Okay, now let me go to Yoga. Yoga, what are your thoughts?
I think it's very unfortunate, right? We are in this situation where we have, a lot of talent pool without jobs, and I think we do recognize that, the talent pool out there in the country is good. So, at least from my company's perspective, is to, go into outreach programs, right? So this is one platform that I'm in today, to kind of go out there and say that, hey, we do have jobs, which job seekers can hire, and we definitely look forward to fresh grads and people with experience to come out and apply for the jobs that we have. So I think that's one. And I think the second answer is this is more for the job seekers, is to be attuned where the basically the IT industry is going, and and what are the technology directions that where the technology is going, right? For example, automation and Internet of Things. These are things that companies are adopting now, and that will probably help the job seekers to get some of those jobs. But yeah. So hopefully that's my quick feedback on your question.
No problem, Yoga. I think now there was maybe I just slid this in. There was a question from the audience, right? In relation to what we're talking about, retrench and etc. Chemical engineers, now on upstream and downstream, right? How are they functioning? With the situation that is happening, do they need to change their roles moving forward? Are they getting retrenched? I mean, from global trends and etc. Or are they going into GBS actually? You see, I know of one investor who has engineers sitting in a GBS network monitoring oil rigs, remotely. You see, so just your thoughts on these kind of transformative things that are actually happening.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Right, when I gave the intro of the company in Malaysia, so we have the KLGBC, which is the IT hub, and then we have the KLTC, the Technical Center, which is an engineering hub, and there we have a lot of this engineering. Chemical engineers in that organization, and they are indirectly a petrochemical engineering hub, and we have chemical engineers sitting there and kind of monitoring, like you say, right, monitoring rigs and doing process optimization and modeling from a global. And these people basically work from home, right? Because in the current pandemic situation, right? So chemical engineer is a very wide term. So I think you need to nail it down to the type of jobs they do. So maybe there are some chemical engineers who need to be in the plant environment. Yeah, I think they probably need to be on the ground. But I think the jobs are changing to what you have alluded to, right? So those people who work in this like a global business services center, then I think they have every opportunity to work from home, given the tools and the advancement of technology.
Great, Yoga. I think that is really good to hear in terms of this. In terms of the thing, I mean, it's basically all the domain knowledge can be really extended, just like what Kim shared, right? You have the domain knowledge and etc. remains quite a fundamental that needs to be. If you are a chemical engineer on the upstream and downstream, then you go into the GBS. You will be adding value from an analytics or process perspective or etc. moving forward, from those stuff. Great, that's it. So, Sarveen, your thoughts from a training provider perspective, what I've shared just now, on fresh graduates, retrenched employees, and also those who are unemployed, you see, for our viewers and audience.
I guess on a very quick one, don't be scared to try. Find roles that you think might be interesting to you, and that your unique skill set combined with some other skill set can work. If there's an additional skill set required, find that program that actually makes sense for you. that combination, you'll never know how that will lead you. Just like what Mr. Yoga said, some chemical engineers are being brought into jobs that never thought of before, right? When their skill set will be used for different things. So find the program that you think add value to yourself and go for it. And I think anything's possible in that sense, unless doctor, lawyer, engineer. I think that's why growing up, that's why parents always said doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? Apart from that, any other industry you can go for.
Thank you, Sarveen. Okay, I think we are just 6 minutes ahead. Over the time. Just before I close off the session, right? Would really like to just share. I mean, today we had quite an invigorating discussion. TriAset, Exxon, and from OpenLearning, right? Sharing their thoughts to everyone here, the audience here today. And if you are right in those three categories that we have just discussed just now, right? Do note also to all employers out there and also future employees or employees currently, right? Do check out on MDEC website the MyWIT program. A lot of the panelists here today in this session are aware or are in those programs currently, and also the previous panel sessions today. The whole focus is basically to try to help all of you moving forward with the opportunities that are coming from that whole digital economy moving forward. So if you are one of those employees and you are joining an employer, if your employer is not part of MyWIT, let them know so that they can also claim the incentives for the betterment of everyone moving forward. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Hasro.
Thank you, Danesh, and all our panel members for the informative sharing and discussion. Attendees, on that note, do visit the My Digital Workforce Week at the mydigitalworkforceweek.my, where we have 5,000 jobs available from over 100 companies across industries. For more information or details, check the included there in the comment section on your right. Thank you again to Danesh and panelists. Hope you enjoy your lunch. With that, we have concluded our first half of day 4 of Digital Skills Week here at the Malaysia Tech Month. We will take a break for our sessions and resume later at 2 p.m. See you then.